adventure, sports, outdoors. With host Harry Canterbury.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before. Yeah. The spirit of the woods.
Hi, this is Harry Canterbury for Adventure Sports Outdoors, and these bagpipes have a lot to do with today's show. The show this month has some shooting in it, but no hunting. Instead, we're going back into time, about 250 years ago, back to a time when the state of Illinois was just being formed, just being colonized by the French and eventually the British. Hey, we're going back to the 1760s, into southwest Illinois, specifically down near Kaskaskia, or what was called Kaskaskia, but it's down near Chester, Illinois, southwest of Belleville, and a few miles west of Prairie du Rocher, down to one of the most famous forts in Illinois history before it became a state in 1818. And we're seeing it all unfold at the 40th annual Rendezvous at Fort des Chartres. H.B. Logston and fellow still photographer Butch Starwalt headed on down to Prairie du Rocher on the first weekend in June, and this is what they saw. We think you'll find it interesting.
Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products and buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. The Embassy Suites Hotel, located on the Illinois side of downtown Peoria. Remax, specializing in commercial and recreational property in Peoria. Michael O'Brien, president. Kaler's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And Tremont Oil Company for all types of vehicle maintenance in Tremont, Illinois. Our thanks to these sponsors.
It was the early 18th century in a time of great changes in Illinois. From 1673 onward, France had claimed the Illinois country as part of its new world empire. Sometime in the early 1700s, around 1720, France built a wooden fort in the area about 4 miles west of present-day Prairie du Rocher. It eventually was replaced with another wooden fort, and then finally, in the 1750s, a stone fort was started and finished around 1760. Only one actual building still remains today, the small powder magazine building. Today, most of the fort has been reconstructed according to the plans that were discovered years ago. This is one of Illinois' most unique historical attractions. Sadly, few Illinois residents know about it. And that is why we are taking you there today. Imagine what it must have looked like almost 250 years ago. Fort des Chartres.
Because of the reconstructed fort on the actual grounds and the people in their authentic clothes and equipment, it's really easy to imagine that you are back 250 years into the past.
you've been involved with this project since the very beginning, is that correct? Or
Well, I missed the first 2 years. I
Did you?
came here in December of '71,
Okay,
and so I made the first rendezvous was in 1972.
yeah.
It was in June of '72.
So tell me, what's the turnout this year as compared with other years?
Well, this year our participant attendance is up. We had right at 380 camps last year, and this year we have 407 or 410. Wow. And we do register everybody, so we keep a good idea on the number of camps. And last year our attendance was just fantastic. It was way up from 2008. And after yesterday's crowd, I think it's going to be up again this year, which makes us all very happy.
Yes, outstanding.
But the weather is great. You know,
today is wonderful.
It's wonderful, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's outstanding. Yesterday was a wee bit hot, but
yeah,
humid.
but no rain, and that's always a good thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the plans continue for next year, and I'm sure.
Well, we are planning to have the 41st one.
Yeah.
If everything goes, you know, and
Sure.
stays together. We really rely on a couple different organizations to do this event. Last year especially, the new group Save Illinois History, when they have a camp out in front, you can stop by and talk to them. They'll be happy to talk to you. They really stepped up and helped us put the event on.
Okay.
But we also have a local gun club, Le Coeur de Bois de Fort de Chartres, and they help us every year since the early years. And they're great. They do a lot of volunteer work. They lay out the entire camp. They help run registration. Just a great group of people, men and women, families.
Sure.
And we just definitely want to thank them because without Le Coeur de Bois, it'd be hard for the state to put this together.
Sure.
It just takes so many man hours.
Wow, you've got a wonderful thing here. We're going to try and get some more information, some more publicity for you for next year.
Well, great.
And we'll be back.
Yeah, good.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I was just very interested in the bicentennial back in '76 and started reenacting back then and have been doing it ever since.
Fantastic. So you would classify this as a reenactment and a rendezvous, is that correct?
More rendezvous than reenactment. We've been to some good reenactments the last few years up at Fort Niagara in New York, at Fort Ticonderoga for 250th reenactments of the battles that happened there 250 years ago.
Right.
Leather goods, I do the leather work. I have a daughter that paints the boxes and makes the jewelry. These are freshwater pearls and red coral and glass on the jewelry, and I do the leather work.
Fantastic.
I interviewed this gentleman whose character was a Kaskaskia Indian. I'll let him tell you about it. The Kaskaskia Indians were natural to the area, and for the most part, it was a friendly coexistence.
Your name?
You know, Tamale Hushwish.
What tribal name is that? What tribe are we talking about?
Kaskaskia.
Kaskaskia. Okay. When did you get started doing this?
1989. No, 88. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. And you've always done the part of the Native American?
No, I do. I also do French artillery. I'm a certified artillerist also.
Okay, fantastic. And so your first time down here would have been when?
90, maybe.
Yeah. And how do you research what you're wearing today?
Of course, what they have on the internet, but there's a lot of stuff that you can't find out. Well, I shouldn't say it. It's on the internet now. But it used to be you had to go to the library and dig it through stacks and research. The Jesuit Relations is a great Parkman's Journals, Jesuit Relations. They're great resources because the Jesuits spent so much time with the natives.
Peterson?
Yes.
And where are you from, Travis?
Springfield, Missouri.
Okay, well, I'm from Springfield, Illinois, and you're in the southwest of Missouri, and I'm in the central part of Illinois. Well, how'd you get started doing this? Your first year? Or?
Well, actually, about 12 years ago, my mother and I started playing music at Civil War reenactments.
Yeah.
And we got into World War II reenactments and eventually into the French and Indian War. We play the music from French and Indian War all the way up to the Civil War, and just do the other ones for fun. So.
And ma'am, your name, please.
I'm Rosalie Peterson. I'm his mother.
Oh, well, we go. All right, there we go. And is this is not your first time, I assume?
No, we've been coming down here about 10 years.
That's incredible.
My name is Madeline Muth.
Madeline Muth. Spell your last name.
M-O-O-T-H, like a cow with a lisp.
Oh, Moots. Okay, all right. Do you have a French name you use there?
I don't think so.
Genevieve?
Well, Madeline is French.
That is true?
Madeline
Absolutely
is
true.
French.
Madeline.
And your name?
I'm Jennifer Bearden.
Okay, cool. And so do you have ties, heritage ties here, ancestral ties here?
I have no ancestral ties here.
But you're drawn here by what?
I am drawn here because my father raises wheat in southeastern Idaho, and this was the breadbasket of the French colonies. And we moved out here about 16 years ago, and I've always loved history and the reenacting. And so when I found that the French raised wheat here, actually this is my father's wheat that I do grind here in my demonstration.
At the Rendezvous, you can find all kinds of things. Freshly brewed root beer, freshly squeezed lemonade, corn on the cob, fresh breads and sandwiches, and you can hear period music as we did with the String Connection and the Peacocks. A little bit of something for everyone.
And you're from where?
I am from originally St. Louis, but I've lived in Fort Myers, Florida for 22 years.
Really?
Yes. Well, I'm dressed as a Western Indian today, which there's a lot of Eastern people here, but there were Cheyenne Indians here at some time period.
And when did you start coming?
1976.
To this one?
Yes.
I was here. And
yeah. And I made it all.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, in fact, I'm always amazed at how much research everybody puts into these. And where did you find most of your information?
I have books because my dad's been in buckskinning for a long time, so I do have a lot of books, and I'm a book collector. Also, internet, library, museums. I've been to a lot of the Smithsonian's and things like that.
And people always find this interesting. What do you do for a living?
I am a hair and makeup artist, and I work for television and movies.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Your outfit is wonderful.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
There are also flintlock rifle contests among those who wish to participate. And this is followed by the depiction of a small skirmish. John Songer from O'Fallon, Illinois, was kind enough to show us how to load a flintlock.
I couldn't even see. All right. This is a 45 caliber flintlock. What you would first do. Now this is not if you're in combat. If you're in combat, you do it a heck of a lot faster. First off, you would take powder and put it in the powder measure.
Okay.
Then you put powder in the barrel.
Okay.
Then you get a patch. Now there's different ways you can use the patch and cut it right here. You can use pre-cut, which is what I do. You put that on top.
Yeah.
Then you get a ball.
Let me see these balls. I'll make one up close if I can.
This is a 45 caliber round ball.
And is that a lead?
Yes, all lead.
Okay. All right.
Soft lead.
Okay.
And then that goes on top of the patch.
And then you tamp it down in there.
Yeah, and then you take your bullet starter.
Okay.
And that starts it, and then you put it here, and it gets it down about this far into the barrel. Then you would take your ramrod. Now I got my other ramrod over there. You take this ramrod, and then you shove it all the way down.
Right. Okay.
All right, then.
Oh, why that one low?
Okay, I'm going to get over here.
Right,
I don't want
rectangle.
to
I
understand.
Wait. You take it and you go to half cock. And then you've got what they call priming powder.
Yes.
That's in here.
Yes.
You take it off.
Right.
You put a little powder in the pan.
Right.
Right here.
Right.
Close the prison. Go to full cock.
Gotcha.
And then, if you see here, this will spark.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Small diamond. Martin got it.
That spark goes into the touch hole.
Yeah.
Sets off the powder here in the pan.
Sure.
And that spark will go in. That'll go into the touch hole, into the barrel, and set that powder off, and then out it comes.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Is that all you need?
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. Appreciate it very
Okay.
much.
Thanks.
Lift up your flap, start us, give them a show.
Did you get the white flag of the French here?
Stop just before them.
And every hour, the cannon is fired twice.
Did you get it? Yeah. And I usually pair my noise canceling headphones because I go we do pleasure hunting out in South Dakota. And somebody fires one up behind.
And it always draws a big crowd.
This time I'm behind. Yeah. Honey, I think you're in trouble.
One thing that is always reenacted at Fort de Chartres is the changing of the fort from French possession to British possession in 1763. This is a ceremony that is reenacted in the center of the fort, and it always is very colorful and captivating. This rendezvous is the biggest of its kind in our nation for this time period, so this is a significant celebration of a ritual, the changing of the flags.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the state of Illinois, welcome to the 40th annual rendezvous at Fort de Chartres. We're very excited to be here today. Commanders, please host your color party.
Color party. Ground yo,
Fort de Chartres Rendezvous is one of Illinois' best-kept secrets. And now that you know about it, you need to put it on your agenda for next year, first weekend in June. Fort de Chartres, 4 miles west of Prairie du Rocher.
I hope you come back to the rendezvous in 2011. Bye.
The 41st Annual Rendezvous, Fort de Chartres, June 4th and 5th, 2011. Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products and buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. The Embassy Suites Hotel, located on the Illinois side of downtown Peoria. Remax, specializing in commercial and recreational property in Peoria. Michael O'Brien, president. Kaler's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And Tremont Oil Company for all types of vehicle maintenance in Tremont, Illinois. Our thanks to these sponsors.
Some real good news. Our son, one of the most precious things in the world, William Billy Canterbury, came home about 2 weeks ago, and he's off again. This time he's not deploying to Iraq, nor is he going to Afghanistan, but he's going to travel Europe. It was one of his life ambitions, and before he starts college, he thought it'd be a very appropriate time to take the trip of a lifetime. So here's a photo of Billy leaving to go to Europe. And of course the picture on the right is a picture of when he was in the United States Marines. I just wish all of those young men and women could come home like our son.
Cash him in and give my money to a man named.
Glad to be home. I'll leave it at that.
was a black man.